Hello all, Solsti here again with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're going to be running through the Nether Spider in Doom Tower, this rotation here. So we're looking at Nether Spider. We've got a Spirit Affinity, which means that we've actually got a negative affinity for Geomancer, but a positive affinity for Venomage. Let me just quickly run you through the team's logic here. So if you see in my clan, you'll see that very similar teams are being run across the board. So you've kind of got, whether it be subbing out, in my case, I've got a Wither instead of a Sir Nick. You've also got a Krisk instead of a Vogoth for the shield buff. But the logic here is all the same, and it's kind of the Venomage, Geomancer, Vogoth combination. You don't need Vogoth in particular for this build. It does work in other ways, but it works really nicely in this case. If you look at global rankings, though, you'll see that the top builds in the world are all using that kind of Geomancer, Venomage, Vogoth combination. The only difference with those builds is that they're using a champion that blocks revive with probably refresh accessories, I assume, in order to get the turn count that low. So what you've got here is you've got a Foley, for example, who will block revives on the first wave, probably in a Savage set, who's got enough damage to effectively kill and block revive on the first wave, then will effectively refresh his accessory. And what they'll do is they'll keep restarting the run until that accessory procs. Then they'll drop another block revive, and then they'll be onto the boss in 2 turns, which then gives them a little bit more chance. They'll probably have the Geomancer in the or the Vogoth. I'm not quite sure with the Necrit build who they have in the lowest HP, because you wouldn't want to be reducing the damage that Geomancer's taking. Effectively, the logic here is that, I mean, you look here, you've got a level 50 Geomancer, 1 legendary, a level 60 Xavier. You've got a non-ascended level 40 Maneater, probably with no books either, because you only need to get his ability off once. You've got a Geomancer level 60 and a Vogoth level 60. Now, Venomancer, Vogoth, and Geomancer are all excellent epics anyway in their own respective. If we're talking about clan boss, then Geomancer's excellent. If we're talking about arena, then Vogoth's excellent. But also in faction wars as well. All 3 of these champions are superb for their faction. Venomage in particular can also solo the Lizardmen's secret room on hard, so definitely something worth building. So you're not wasting any resources building these champions, and obviously Maneater in particular is extremely powerful because of his ability to run an unkillable clan boss team. Xavier as well, not the easiest to get, but Foley you can get from the clan shop. Sorry, not the clan shop, from selling some of your duplicate legendaries, you could get Foley. So actually building this team, you could do so with a little bit of luck on voids, and actually just building out 3 really solid champions that have kind of been recently accessible. If you've been playing the game for kind of about a year or so, which I'd say you probably need to have been anyway to be getting to this point of the game in terms of clearing hard Doom Tower, is that you've probably picked up a lot of these champions, if not all of them, along the way. And Foley's quite easily accessible, as I said, instead of Xavier if you want to swap them out. So onto the boss build then. So let me just run you through it quickly. So that the way this run works is really simple. So you'll see here that Ethos comes in, clears the wave. This is where Foley or Xavier would be clutch, because they're kind of coming in, reducing the waves down there. You see it again here. So you've got Ethos comes in, smashes the wave, kills it off. Geomancer then clears the wave again. So we're sort of through to the boss in 6 turns there. And then you've got the Nether Spider comes out and does his attacks. Vogoth, you'll see here, does the big heal at the end. You've got then the Wither cleanse. You've got Geomancer places his HP burn, and you've then got the heal reduction and the poisons go out. And you'll see here the boss's health dropping, because the way this build is structured to work is that effectively the Vogoth just sits in the back, pretty low speed, and just takes a significant amount of damage. He then heals up the others by taking the damage, and effectively becomes the tank for the build. You'll see, so Geomancer's HP burn goes on the boss, meaning that the boss doesn't effectively get any. So the boss takes all the damage from all the spiderlings attacking. You'll see here that, so that goes in, you get the attack down and the defense down by Venomage. You've got Ethos just continuously putting his A1 into the boss, and then Geomancer does an AoE attack, which then triggers all of the counter attacks from all of the spiderlings. You'll see here, ping, 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 all of their health just coming down so quickly. Wither will then do an AoE attack, which means that again, Vogoth's being triggered again. We'll see the boss's HP burning. At this point, the build is effectively, you're not meant to survive past this point of the build, and there we go. 23 turns, not my quickest run. My quickest run was actually 19 turns in 5 seconds quicker. But you see here that Geomancer has done 9.4 million damage. Ethos has done 612k, which is just clearing the waves. Venomage has done almost no damage. Wither's done almost no damage. And Vogoth's just done healing, no damage. This build is, whoever came up with it, it's an exceptionally clever build. There are some substitutions that work. For example, Ghostborn does an AoE heal reduction. However, Ghostborn also doesn't provide the damage reduction that Venomage produces. Also, Ghostborn's just significantly harder to get, being a legendary champion rather than epic. He just won't be as readily available on most people's accounts. So if I just kind of run through the, apologies, what I'm going to do is run through the AI quickly just to show you exactly how this works. So on the Nether Spider, we've got, I've showed you the best teams already, but my kind of best run's 19. I could probably, as I said, if I had a Foley I have a Xavier, but I don't have a built-in refresh accessories. But I have the Foley, for example. If I go for team setup, I've then got on there, I've got Geomancer doesn't use his A3 on the first or second round, but he opens with it, which he'll do automatically, so you don't need to set the AI for that. Venomage doesn't use his Flesh Melter Venom on the first or second wave, but he does on the third. Wither doesn't use either A2 or A3 on the first 2 waves, and then she opens with a cleanse and then puts the increased defense up and heals based on the continuous heal buffs she's put out. Ethos just works as normal, goes as he wishes, and Vogoth just goes as normal. Important to note that Vogoth needs to be at the end of the team, because Vogoth then does the additional healing based on the fact of it works kind of strangely in terms of the way he's structuring the team. But so overall, 215 speed, 347 accuracy on Geomancer. Pop him in something like a Stalwart set if you want to be really consistent with this run. That it can fail occasionally if you kind of get unlucky and get crit. But realistically, I've run this kind of 7, 8, 9 times and it's failed once. So I'd say it's, we're up there in kind of the 90+%. And actually, if you were to sub out even Wither in this example with probably something like a Man-Eater, I think you'd be in a position where you kind of would be very successful. Actually, Ethos won't use his A2 or A3 on the boss. He'll only use his A1 because most of the champions are programmed to do so. However, if you were to tell him to use his A2 and A3, he would proc more Spiderlings, meaning that the Spiderlings would kind of rotate through and do more damage to the boss itself. Another thing to note is that my Vogoth's 128 speed, but he's got a huge amount of HP, decent defense, decent accuracy. Vogoth in a curing set is absolutely super for this boss. My Vogoth's currently built in a really high kind of HP defensive build, but yeah, get him in a build like sort of that's really tanky, taking a lot of damage. If we just go through my Geomancer's gear, he's just kind of in an Immortal plus Perception 2 sets, actually broken sets for the other 2 pieces, just decent gear pieces. Venomage is in a 4-piece Stalwart with 2-piece Perception, so he's got decent speed. I actually dropped his speed significantly for this build. He's got decent accuracy, but he's also got good HP and defense survivability, and he takes 25% less damage from the AoE attacks. 30% less damage from the AoE attacks due to the Stalwart set. So he has no problem surviving whatsoever. And that's kind of the build. As I said, there's kind of a few things you can float around in between. If I just quickly go and have a look at my Vogoth, who's in the vault. Vogoth's in just a tanky set. He's just in kind of the resilience 2-piece and then nothing else. Just got the right stats more than anything. So, like I said, overall, tweak around, play around with it, have a look at the best teams. The only priority is that once you get to the boss, you need the Geomancer to run quicker than the Venomage, and you then need something which will effectively either cleanse and keep your team alive, i.e. Vogoth plus Wither in my case, or you have something else which doesn't which effectively places unkillable or something else along those lines. And the only way to really get the run super quick, like mine, is to get something that can really sort of one-shot the waves. So Foley or Xavier are fantastic for that job. I said Foley's probably your best bet, but Xavier's also exactly the same in terms of getting to the boss. They're all void, so it's all either Venus or Crutraxa, so it doesn't matter which one you use. It just matters really which one you've got the better refresh accessories on, because you are going to need to kind of really be able to pump still the crit damage and stuff on the neck to really be able to one-shot those waves. But like I said, you don't need to be doing this in 9 turns. It's a decent set, Affinity Breaker. It's niche. There's no doubt in saying it's niche. It has its uses. I mean, typically, I don't have anyone currently geared in a full Affinity Breaker set. However, what is important to note is that was level sort of 90 of Doom Tower. So that's the last level. That's the first of the final kind of tier of hard bosses. If we have a look at the reward information, that means you're getting up to 5 legendary pieces to build artifacts, and with that can be really useful for CVC. But also just being able to get 6-star epic or legendary pieces, especially if you're kind of earlier on into Doom Tower, it's fantastic. We always say stats over sets, and that applies entirely. And when you can make 6-star potentially legendary or epic pieces and specify what substats you want on them, then obviously that leaves us in a really strong position to keep progressing through the game. You see here I've got a decently quick run on the Ice Spider, Scarab King. I released a video the other day about fantastic set on Scarab King, although very hard to solo if you don't have Eurost. I did release a video yesterday which shows you how to solo Euros. Solo the Scarab King without Euros. Not 100% efficient, not 100% accurate, and always kind of doesn't always work, but it is a decent build, and it's something again to try out if you're kind of starting into your progression of Doom Tower hard modes. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the video. I've been Solsty, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.